thrown base weapons that you have to throw, okay? But before we get to that, what I need you to do is like, subscribe, share, give me a thumbs up, add a comment down below if you have any of these weapons, if you think it's important to have, not to have. I like to really appreciate or to hear your opinions. Let me know what you think about this stuff. Also, become a Patreon member. Patreon member only costs you $1 a month. It's just a little way of paying back, and I really appreciate it. Also, I'll put the links down below for Amazon. I am an Amazon affiliate, so if you purchase one of these items from Amazon, I think I get like 2 cents on the dollar. All right, so thrown projectile weapons. All right, so if you're like me and grew up in the 80s, you probably had a little store or a catalog where you could probably get some of these quote-unquote Chinese throwing stars, or shurikens, or ninja type, mall ninja type stuff, okay? So if I offend anybody, I apologize. I just grew up in a different era, and everybody's super sensitive of where they came from. So I'm not really gonna get into it. If you're upset that I called something Chinese, I'm sorry, but that's how I grew up, and that's what we called them back then, all right? So, throwing base weapons. Now, for me, myself, and again, there's not going to be any video of me actually using these, mostly because of where I live. I really needed a wooded area, and I tried to set it up, and it would definitely be too dangerous for me to do it here. I would need an open field that wasn't in a city environment. So I'm sorry, I apologize for that. I will plan to take all these things and bring them upstate or to a location where it's a little bit safer. If you guys are interested of axe throwing, I know axe throwing has just come back. That's a big thing. But understand this, most of the stuff that I got here you can get from Cold Steel. Lynn Thompson left Cold Steel. He is no longer in Cold Steel as far as the president. He might be a contributor in some ways as far as designs, but you could always go to the Cold Steel website and check out all this stuff. Okay, that's basically where I got it from, except for the quote-unquote Chinese throwing stars, or shurikens, if I said it correctly. This is kind of how I feel about it. I don't want to say it's the worst idea, because there are places in this great country of ours that you are not allowed to carry firearms, or you can't carry firearms, or maybe you're a felon, or maybe you never practice with it. I can see a easy, quiet way of subduing somebody with one of these items. However, the learning curve can be quite steep. For me, myself, I would like to use something like a bow, let's say a pistol, a rifle, a shotgun, something that they can't throw back at me. And that's one of the major problems with these items. All right, and we'll go over the items one by one, but I want to say something that's very, very simple. If I throw an axe at you and I miss, you now have a weapon to use against me. Okay, that's very simple, but I think you need to understand that. Now listen, I grew up in the 80s and 90s. I loved all those ninja movies. I was a big fan of the Kung Fu series. I watched it every Sunday. I loved it. I loved the fact that there would be warriors dressed in black and fighting samurai. It was awesome, awesome. Good stuff, right? We all grew up, and if you're my age, you know what I'm talking about. But there never was one time where you saw that ninja or that samurai or that person pull the axe out of the board that he missed, or out of his body, and then threw it back at the guy. All right, so this is kind of fantasy versus reality, and I think we live in a reality-based world. Now, I don't have a problem, again, if you are very proficient in this. Maybe you study ninjutsu, maybe you study the samurai culture, maybe you are very, very proficient in this stuff. Then I don't have a problem with that. But for the average American, this is more like a fun-based thing. This is more of a fantasy, all right? So let's just talk about some of the things, okay? So this is a throwing knife, okay? This knife is made by Cold Steel. This is called the Superflight Sport, and I got these on Amazon. I think they come in packages of 3. They're kind of well balanced for what they are, okay? I like them because they weren't very expensive, and if you wanted to, you can buy the sheath separately. Again, a lot of this stuff doesn't always come with a sheath, but you don't have to worry about, you know, if I wanted to go in the backyard and I had enough space, I could just take this in the back, put it in my sheath. You don't need it, but it's a convenient way to hold these type of items. So the throwing knives, I think, are going to be, in my opinion, the most useful for any type of self-defense. Okay, now again, this is not for whittling, this is not for carving. You're just throwing a projectile. Again, if you miss, he now has a weapon, or she now has a weapon. So that's one of the things you got to worry about. Okay, so this is a little bit more convenient. You don't have to have them on the sheath. You could probably conceal these very well, but again, that's something that's there. The other thing I want to talk about is throwing axes. Now these are 2 tomahawks, and tomahawk throwing has been around for a very, very long time. Axe throwing has been around for a very, very long time, and I think they are outstanding methods for having fun. Okay, if you can hit a moving person with an axe, you are way better than me. Not to mention, this is not easily concealed. I know that SOG makes a True Flight, or a I want to say lighter axe that's supposed to be more well balanced. But again, I'm still on that level of fantasy. I don't know if I can carry this and throw it at somebody and actually hit somebody. There are people that can, so I'm not going to discount that yet. I'm just saying, for the sheer size of these things, probably not going to be the most convenient. So another thing that I liked, and I thought this was kind of fun, was Cold Steel. Cold Steel sells a Torpedo. Now this thing is freaking huge. I bought a couple of them because they weren't that expensive, but I just want to give you some of the stats. 12-inch, it is cold rolled, 1055, the weight is 15 ounces, thickness at the center is 3/4. All right, so I bought a couple of them. They do come with these little rubber pieces on the end, or I'm sorry, tubing or plastic tubing, so you don't stab yourself. I have yet to see a efficient way of carrying this, not to mention this thing is super big. Now I have extra large hands, and you can see this is not an easy thing to carry, not an easy thing to conceal. Again, I think more fantasy, more fun. If I'm at a barbecue and I'm throwing torpedoes at shit, I'm gonna have a great time. All right, just as long as it doesn't bounce back. They do show a video, Lynn Thompson shows a video of him throwing this through bricks, through wood, through dummies, and it does work. It is a very good steel, and the point is very well done, so it won't chip, it won't break. And even if you hit the person without actually making penetration, it's probably going to knock them out because this thing is so heavy. All right, so kind of fun. I like it, you know, but again, I think more fantasy than anything else. All right, so let's talk about the Shuriken, or Chinese throwing stars, which, by the way, I don't think throwing stars are Chinese. I think they are more Japanese. I'm not sure. If somebody knows better than me, please let me know. So when I was a kid and America was free, you can go to any dime store and pick these up from the awesome Asian lady behind the counter for very cheap. Like, this was like $5 if you got a set. And what we would do is we would take these and we would go to the backyard and we would throw them in the wood. And hopefully they would stick, and we would just have fun with them. Again, this was free America when everybody wasn't so uptight. Some of them are made of stainless steel, some of them are carbon, and they were painted, so I had to like clean them up a little bit. They came in different sizes, different colors, and they were almost collectible because they're not really sharp. Okay, they're not really sharp. This one's a little bit sharper. They didn't always stick very well. Some of them were better than others, and I gotta say, for the price that we were paying for them, for like $5 a piece or something like that, they were kind of cool. Some people were selling them like, there's a little hole in here. I guess you can use it as a fake Christmas ornament. I don't know. They also had one, and these were really cool, that it was like a belt buckle. So there was a belt buckle that had a square, and then you could turn it, and you could use it as a belt buckle. And then when that imaginary zombie came out, you could unhook it, pull it out of the belt buckle, and use your shuriken. So I thought that was kind of cool and neat. I don't have the belt buckle. I'm sorry. I wish I would have held on to that, but I thought that was super awesome at the time. Again, can you carry these? Yeah, you can carry these around. They are outlawed or illegal in some states, and it's kind of stupid, but I don't consider this to be a valuable piece of fighting equipment. I think it's fun. They used to make, this is an old pouch. I have this old pouch which just would fit on your belt, and you could stick a couple of them in there and then put this on your belt. Again, I don't have the belt buckle, all that stuff, but is it practical? Maybe. I don't know how many I would have to carry in order to subdue somebody. I think honestly what these were for was that if you had pursuers, you would take these out and throw this at them, and then they would like not pursue you anymore. These are not meant to kill. These are more meant to maim or disrupt somebody's attack. You can't use them in close quarters. It's just basically throwing something, okay? More along the lines of stealth, we have spikes. This is another cool option. These, I used to have better ones than these. These I think came straight from China. It took a little bit, and you can actually buy these on Amazon if you're interested. These I actually learned how to throw as a kid. So what you would do is you would put these between these fingers, and you would put a thumb over here, and as you threw it overhand, it would just slip out this way, and you would just have the dart coming this way into. So depending on your technique, depending on how far you are from the target, depending how practiced you were, you can actually use these spikes to do, again, a little bit of damage. If you're hitting soft tissue, you're going to do better. I am not a master of throwing spikes, but they are available. I think these are the most practical, mostly because even if I don't use it to throw, I could still use it as a defense option. You could use it to stab, you can use it to pick, and they are very lightweight, and they are able to use them in different manners. So I thought that was kind of cool. And it does come with a really cheap sheath. Again, when I ordered them from Amazon, it took a couple weeks, so I'm imagining it's coming straight from Japan or China. The sheath itself can be used on the belt, all right? I also saw one where the spikes were actually used as a under the arm kind of ninja throwing device, okay? Again, the spikes were basically made for the same reason for the shurikens, is that spikes are very tiny, they're easy to use. You can use them as a kubaton. You could do a lot of different things with them. But again, it was to delay or to diffuse. All right, you could defend yourself with that if you used it in an overhand motion, or stab somebody. And I know someone's going to say, well, John Wick kills somebody with a pencil. Yes, we are not John Wick. I'm just being practical. A couple of things that aren't here, and I would say is a blowgun or blow dart. Those are very accurate. You can buy one from Cold Steel. They are very accurate. They are very deadly in the right hands if you are practiced. A bow and arrow, absolutely. We've been fighting wars forever with bows and arrows. So you get a compound bow, a crossbow, a slingshot is another way of doing it. But I just wanted throwing weapons for now. Okay, we'll probably cover that in another subject, but I just wanted to see what you guys thought. I thought it was kind of cool. It was kind of neat, a little bit different. If you guys have throwing stars or spikes or any of this stuff, please put the comments down below. Anything that you can physically throw with your hands by no other power, with your hands, please let me know. Put it down below. If you are practicing it, if you know the actual name of the martial art that teaches this other than ninjutsu, please let me know. I thought it was kind of cool and a good subject. So I'm just going to end it here, guys. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please go to threeriverblades.com if you're looking for a handmade custom knife. Not a throwing knife. I don't make those. Go to Three River Kydex if you need a holster or some mag pouches. Get on Patreon. Become a Patreon member, and make sure you're on that mailing list. So that's it, guys. I'll see you next Sunday, and as always, please stay safe.